What's up, guys? Quick video, kind of piggybacking off my last video. This is my professional day job as a programmer, and of course, as you get better with time and you work more with your code and with what you're doing, you learn new things that are, better practice and better ways of doing things. One thing I did learn is that this, after I came back and saw the video again, I was like, wow, that's really bad. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's like not the proper way to do something like this. You can still do it, it still works, it's still functional, but the better way of doing this is, I'll show you, through direct DOM manipulation. So what we're going to do is we're using pure JavaScript, no jQuery, nothing like that. We're using pure DOM manipulation with JavaScript, and we're going to do this whole thing over again. So using the same stuff, same component, same everything as before, same reset file as the last video. If you watched the last video, we did that there. This is what it came out to, but we're just going to refactor it and make it a lot cleaner this time around. So going through, we're going to start clipping out the stuff we don't need. So we don't need our constructor anymore because we're not using state. We don't need this conditional. We're not checking is top. I'll explain that in a second. We don't need either of these, and we don't need this. And as you remember before, this state.scroll, it's checking to see nav scrolled or nav based on state. We don't need that. We're going to be modifying it directly. So to make that easy, we can just do this to nav as before. And we're going to set this div to an ID of nav. So basically what we're doing here is, I'll change this as well so it's greater than. We're going to do, we're going to set up a constant variable, const nav is equal to document.get element by ID, get element by ID, nav. So what we're doing here is we're grabbing document get element by ID, which is nav, by nav. So IDs, if you're familiar with HTML, which you should be, IDs are very specific to the DOM. You only have one ID for anything at all. Like that's what it is. So it'll never grab something else and mess up your page by setting it to an ID. So as you can see, it doesn't work anymore, but we're going to fix that in a second. So with isTop, before we were setting it to like not equal to true or whatever, we don't actually have to check the conditional for isTop anymore. So isTop always returns a Boolean every time, because it's set to window scroll y is greater than 100. If it's going to return true or false. It's asking a question: is it greater than 100 or less than 100? When it sets up and it runs the scroll for the event listener, it'll ask, is it greater than or less than 100? It'll return true or false. So we'd actually have to check for that. If is top, if it's true, do something. Otherwise, else, do something else. So what we're going to do here is do nav dot class list dot add scrolled, or nav.classList.remove scrolled. So I'll explain this too, and I'll show you it works. Of course, it works. But what we're doing here is we're still using the same component lifecycle. We're still using our window add event listener scroll. So it's listening for a scroll event listener on the window, and it's going to ask the question: is top window scroll y? Then it's going to get the nav document get element by ID nav. It's always going to have that, and if it's true, it adds the class scrolled here. So it's going to basically be like if you scroll down, it's going to add the class scrolled like that. Otherwise, if it's below 100, it'll just remove it, so it won't be there. And you could be down here before as well, and you can reload the page at any point as long as when it loads, when it mounts, when it scrolls, if it's ever true, if this is ever true, it'll do this. Basically, that's all it's doing. Yeah, that's pretty much it. This is the cleaner way of doing it. The better way of doing it per se. This works in jQuery, this works in Angular, this works in vanilla JavaScript, HTML, CSS, DOM manipulation. It works everywhere because all we're doing is when add event listener scroll. You just need this little block of code and then add an ID and a class name. Of course, CSS has to be set up as well, but that's all basic stuff. But just wanted to give a quick refactor of my old code that I wrote, so you guys have a more cleaner, professional version of what was added before. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down in the comment section. But other than that, good luck.